Travis Wingate. So, remembering back on my life this morning, the 2 failed marriages. The first one, I won't go into detail on, but it's interesting how the church has the young women brainwashed to have a checklist for a spouse, that the guy must conform to that list of requirements in order for him to be worthy of the girl. And then to look back on my life and realize that the church had also taught to have men sabotaged to not conform to that list. But the first marriage was on Friday the 13th in March. As the announcement killed my grandfather with a heart attack, literally. But without going into the whole history and details, it ended with her saying, "My kids will not learn Hebrew." And away they went with all my Hebrew decipherment research and the computer upon which I worked on it. And so when I was released from my indefinite captivity, indefinite incarceration, and if you think that that's only for terrorists, not for Americans, you got another thing coming. Because with the loss of my family, first family, I tried to get them back through the legal process. And having been denied over and over and over again, nobody wanting to step in to help, nobody wanting to do their job to help, I submitted yet another petition for redress of grievances on August 6th, 2008, which was her birthday and our anniversary for our temple marriage. And or actually no, it's not our temple marriage. That was a different date. That was also around that was the 15th of March. That was our divorce date. And she finally succeeded in getting a divorce. Oh man, time flies. And so as a result of filing a petition for a redress of grievances in the state of Utah, I was therefore considered a terrorist and was indefinitely detained without ever going to trial, without ever having an opportunity to defend myself. Because if I did, I would be released, as it was a frivolous lawsuit. They purposely deceive the courts with fake charges, bogus as it's commonly called. They frauded the courts. But all's fair when you're in control and make the rules. So, when I got released, and there are events in one's life that cause one to stop and go, you know, maybe science doesn't know all the answers. Maybe I should become a science denier and pursue this unknown God of mystery, supernatural powers, and coincidences. My freedom was one of those moments. I wasn't supposed to be set free. The indefinite detention was supposed to be forever. But I guess they couldn't put it into the records to pass on to the next person who replaced them that I was not supposed to be let go. And so we had 3 different individuals retire and get replaced so that the new people didn't know why I'm there. You're not like the others here. Even the others saying, you're not like us. Why are you here? If you're out and you're watching this video by chance, how's it going, man? Hope you're staying out of trouble. But thanks for the paper. And so I was provisionally released. They had to try their best to make sure that I was controlled during the whole process, because I wasn't supposed to be set free. I'm this big, bad, mean terrorist. And so, yeah, my parents were notified. Oh, he's being released. Somebody's watching over him, right? Oh yeah, we're taking care of him. And so, yeah, I got placed in specific homes along the way. But again, the people put in charge of me are like, why are you here? You don't belong here. And unfortunately, the person that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints had paid for having me indefinitely detained was again reassigned to oversee me. So she was the one person who knew that I needed to be indefinitely detained, and thus, having been set free, needed to be kept under a leash. And so she wasn't going to let me go either. I even sat in her office saying, I want my freedom. And she said, oh no, we'll see about the future, we'll see how things go. Yeah. And so, having been given freedom, finally, I'm now here. And as you are aware, for those of you who have been paying attention to the videos and know about the property manager who sought to have me evicted, who sought to have me assassinated with the air conditioning unit, which so many people complained about. The audio sucks, man. It's like, no. I'm being assassinated, guys. Give me a break. But at the previous place before moving here, I knew that I needed to get married, because that's the only way I would be protected. If you don't understand Mormonism in Utah, you're clueless. And so, yes, I had to go back into the lion's den, and be sealed in a Mormon temple to a Mormon girl for my protection. I didn't at that time know that the church had been paying the person to have me indefinitely detained. I still had yet to discover that and make the final connection to say the church is responsible for my indefinite detention. And so there was still, and I hadn't studied church history yet. I didn't have access to Google search, obviously, with 6 years of indefinite detention. And so moving here, there was Karen. And for some reason, she liked me. And we got married. But in that process, the church had changed it so the man also had to get permission from any and all previous wives. And so the bishop had to contact Stephanie. And she sent a letter to the bishop saying, "Oh, I'm glad he's able to move on." However, she sent another letter to the First Presidency and said, "Travis owes child support, and Travis, he watches porn." And so the First Presidency goes to the bishop and says, "Hey, she wrote us this letter saying these issues are involved." And so the bishop says, "All right, are you involved in porn?" "No, I'm not involved in porn." I don't want to get into a debate about the Greek meaning of it and the origin of it being evangelical and idol worshiping and all that crap that violates 115 of Psalm and all that other nonsense. But with the child support, he said, "I need you to get a letter from Office of Recovery Services so that we can proceed," because they changed it after she got a ceiling cancellation way back when, requiring men to be up to date on their child support in order to qualify for a temple recommend. And so, yeah, I'm contacting Office of Recovery Services, and they're saying, "We don't have a file for you." I know, but I'm supposed to get a letter saying that I don't owe child support. And they said, "Oh, okay, well, we can do that." And so, yeah, I got the letter, gave it to the bishop, and the bishop submitted it to the First Presidency, and in record-breaking time, which shocked both the stake president and the bishop, they approved our sealing pretty much that very day when they got the stuff, realizing that my ex had lied to them, was purposely trying to sabotage my happiness, as she was able to get away and have her life of happiness. Now, if she's miserable, that's on her. She can't take it out on me anymore. And so, again, another one of those moments where you wonder if there is a supernatural, mysterious God of coincidences, as the temple assigned us to room number 13. And if you don't know, like I said, the first marriage was Friday the 13th, way back in the day, in March. And I didn't have the accessibility to conveniences that I had been used to previously. So my suit can't be tailored. I couldn't obtain a tailor to do that. And It was a new suit. And so that's why it looks baggy on me. And we had our wedding photos taken at the infamous door, yes, infamous door of the Salt Lake Temple. And I didn't see it because I'm not looking up. Who looks up? I took physics in high school, and the physics teacher loved to play the little game of putting something on the upper rafters at his door to the classroom, and then ask us who saw what he placed up in the rafters. And of course nobody knows, because nobody looks up. Everybody looks down when they walk, or they're with somebody and they're just talking with each other, and so they're focused on themselves, talking about how wonderful they are and what things they've done, and seen ego-centered conversations. And so, yeah, I became aware that there are things looking up. But being in Southern California, you're also threatened not to look up, not to look people in the eye. You just keep your head down, and you know nothing, you see nothing, you're just doing your thing. And if you do come across somebody in the eye, you just do a head nod and move along. But I mean, it is awesome when you don't know that the church is connected to the dark side, to the Dark Lord. I mean, you don't make the connection. You're living your life, and that distracts you enough as it is. And when the church leaders use the Mormon code wording, you don't catch it, because they're quoting from Scripture and saying Jesus and saying Joseph Smith and prophets and Spirit and all that stuff, so you don't catch on to the little traps they're doing to you. And of course, you don't see the inverted pentagram way up high. And after the photos, Karen's sister had made reservations at the Lion House, where in the Lion House they have great honey. And so we had our wedding feast there at the Lion House, where in the Lion House they have honey. No, I'm not telling you. If you don't know, I'm not going to tell you. And as we lived our lives, and if you didn't remember, there was this whole controversy of 4 lunar eclipses, as ours was right around that 4th one. Let me check. And then the 3 apostles dying, Perry, Packer, then Scott, right before the conference, right before the 4th lunar eclipse. Yeah, September 28th. And so just a few days earlier. April 15th, 2014, October 8th, 2014, April 4th, which was Saturday morning session of General Conference, 2015, and then September 28th, 2015. And Scott, I believe, died on the 27th of September. So just barely making it within the time frame allotted to him. So, yeah, October 1st was the Thursday. I guess they didn't allow for a Friday. And so, yeah, 1, 2, 3. 3 days later. But, and so that was going on as Mormons were wondering, is this the end of the world? Are these the signs in the heavens that we're looking for? And the church comes out and says, no. There is no second coming. Quit thinking about it. Move along. Nothing to see here. And so here it is, right before conference, and we are required to get married on the Thursday, the 1st of October, which was my third daughter's birthday, the daughter that I didn't get to see born. And here was the conference where the 3 apostles get replaced to make the 9 apostles back into 12 apostles. If you don't know, I'm not going to tell you in this video. And so we're living our lives throughout the rest of that year and 2016. And then Fox 13 News Utah, before the election, comes out on the 4th of November. And it was during the morning newscast that I had running on TV that was in the bedroom at the time. Karen was in the kitchen doing dishes, and I can't remember what I was doing, but heard about the eclipse, the solar eclipse for 21st of August 2017. I literally was glued to the TV as I knew exactly what it meant. Because here we are, we're about to have an election, and Trump was ripping apart the GOP. As the GOP were pretending to be offended with Trump. How dare you trash my wife and family? Nobody does that. Remember Ted Cruz? Now, apparently he can trash his wife. He doesn't care. And yet his wife still remains with him. But I still knew that it meant a collapse of government, if not the death of the president who would be elected. Little did I know that it was Russia who was in charge of our election that year. I was aware of the Russian attempts as my own neighbors were reposting their advertisements. I'd rather be Russian than vote Democrat. Seriously, guys? Seriously. And so, yeah, it became a new focus in my life. I had to quickly finish my research on the Paleo-Hebrew alphabet, get it all published. Couldn't get to the vocabulary because I knew that I needed to find out about this other stuff, the signs in the heavens. Because now I had a date that I knew was it, but I needed to confirm it. And so I started doing the research on it and publishing my research that I was finding and running tests and stuff like that. So when Lavelle Edwards died, I found that it was associated with a sign in the heavens. And yes, even horses, that he was involved in horses. I found a sign that connected mythologically to horsing. And I thought, oh, isn't that cool? But still, I needed to do more research to find the signs, find the dates for the signs from the scriptures, because it's astronomy. Astronomy is a precise, hard science. It's not a pseudoscience where you can just mystically say, oh, it's going to happen on this date, and you're going to find true love. That'll be $50, please. And yet, Mormons don't know anything about this. And so here I am, doing the research, publishing books, in a brand new marriage, and nobody understands it. And when Mormons don't understand things, it's therefore wrong, it's of the devil, it's evil, etc. And so, yeah, how do I keep it a secret, yet still warn everybody? And so in July 2017, I had previously found the sign of the Son of Man, 23rd September 2017. And I knew it wasn't the birth of Jesus Christ. Nor was it the birth of any actual man like Moses for the latter days. But how do I tell people? Because Mormons believe that the president of the church is the only true president of the church. Nobody else is supposed to take his place. And so Mormons have traditionally believed that during the millennium, whoever is the president of the church just automatically becomes the millennial president of the church, with Jesus as King of Kings, Lord of Lords, who came down from outer space without a spacesuit and without a spaceship, flying on Pegasus. And comes to Adam-on-Diamond, has the secret priesthood meeting. Because Mormons, I learned here in Utah, are in a conundrum. How do they justify going to Adam-on-Diamond and Independence, Missouri, where Zion is supposed to be, where the throne of God is supposed to be, and yet leave Utah, where the headquarters of the church is? And so Mormons are kind of conflicted on that. They don't know how to reconcile that. And so here I am, learning all sorts of stuff that Mormons are clueless on, who have already set up their own minds as to what's going to happen. And none of it will happen, which is the trap that the church set for them, to destroy their minds, so that they can do away with the foolishness of Zion. Salt Lake City is Zion. And you must conform and comply. Your agency is gone. You must accept or die. Oh, yes, I guess you are the true Church of Jesus Christ, not the Church of Lucifer who takes away agency. How could I have been so wrong? How could I have been so deceived? And how do you explain Section 103, verse 16, a man like Moses, who's supposed to lead this exodus away from Utah? How do you explain the one mighty and strong, who's supposed to replace the president of the church who dies like the vivid shaft of lightning striking a tree? Mormons all believe that it could be them, and so they all do this whenever somebody around them or themselves say or do something wrong, like drink Mountain Dew or eat chocolate, which some say has caffeine, or say heck. Fetch and Skriddly D from that Mormon rap song. And so Mormons just don't get it. They've lived their lives brainwashed. And so how do I come out and tell Mormons, let alone my new wife, who my new wife, as sweet as she is completely and utterly clueless. She literally denies the Book of Mormon, denies Joseph Smith, denies Jesus Christ himself, even though she goes around saying how much she loves Jesus. When it contradicts the current president of the church. She puts the president of the church above all else. She will not leave the church. Even when I point out to her, hey, this is the Book of Mormon. This is what it says is supposed to be done by the president of the church. This is what he did. No, I'm going to stick with the church. He's called of God. He speaks with God. She can't make the connection. She can't disconnect from Nelson or from Monson. And thus she denies the Book of Mormon. She denies Joseph Smith. She denies Jesus Christ. And Mormons aren't getting this. When you put Nelson as the guy to listen to above all else, you're denouncing Jesus. They're not one of the same. For example, we have a coronavirus. Nelson's refusing to tell everybody to stay home, refusing to give out of the trillions of dollars they have to allow people to stay home rather than be extorted to go to work so that they can remain safe from coronavirus. Simple thing, right? And you may say, well, he's the president of the church and he's being inspired as to how to lead things, and we need to be responsible and self-reliant. It's our fault if we didn't prepare for this. Okay, well, let's look for the scriptures to see if there's an example comparable in the scriptures to see if Nelson is following the scriptures. You know, holding to the rod, the iron rod. Moses, the Exodus. Interesting timing. A virus is to come through Egypt. Moses, being the leader, the new leader, is informed by God there is a virus coming. And so he tells the house of Israel, stay home, stay safe until this passes over. Thus, the holy day of Passover. And what happened to the Egyptians? Well, the firstborn of Egypt, even Pharaoh's son, die. And so, who is the firstborn of the house of Israel? Well, that's Joseph. And then Ephraim. And who are the majority of Utah Mormons from the tribe of in their patriarchal blessings? Ephraim. And who's dying in these last days? Those of the firstborn Ephraim. It's a simple thing to do, and yet if you trust in Nelson, you're denying the scriptures. You're calling them fake. You're calling them a hoax. Nelson is the true prophet. He knows what to do. He's guided by the true Jesus Christ. And you deny. You deny Joseph Smith in section 45, verse 31. A desolating sickness is to come in the latter days, which corresponds with the Exodus of Moses. And so if you're following Nelson, if you believe he's the true and living prophet on the earth, then you deny the scriptures, you deny Joseph Smith. It's not complicated. It's very simple. And so here I am trying to explain it to Karen. And she's saying, okay, well, when's the Exodus? I don't know. This was before coronavirus. And so I'm like, and she's demanding I give her a sign in the heavens. And thus I did the video in July 2017 that's got over 35,000 views now on that event that I said this could be. Because I had no clue. I was just in the beginning stages of learning the signs. I had published a book of signs that year. And I'm still in need of updating it. Still, I've been updating, or trying to get to the point of updating it for several weeks now. But that was what broke up our marriage. The first wife said, I don't want my kids learning Paleo-Hebrew, because I found out Joseph Smith was a translator through deciphering Paleo-Hebrew. And the first marriage was shattered. So the second marriage, I found out that there's an Exodus, that the church isn't true, that somebody else among Mormonism is going to lead the Exodus, not Nelson or Monson. And she was the one who cut my hair, so I had to go back to cutting my hair when she divorced me. And I can never get the back of my head. I don't have a setup so that I can cut the back of my head well. But yeah, she would cut my hair. And it was her who would leak the information that I was telling her to her sister, to the bishop, and to others. And by leaking that information about what I was telling her, they all combined against me. Bishop Reed Hammond extorted me, saying I needed to quit my business, or why am I bothering coming to church? And all of it was about Paleo-Hebrew and the signs in the heavens for the latter days. And here he was saying, why are you bothering? And it was specifically with the book that I had just come out with and had done a YouTube video to publicize it, about the Book of Mormon being the official doctrine of the fall of Adam. I did that the other day, going over section 29, verse 36 and 40. Look it up, Mormons. Try to reconcile it. Oh, Eve was possessed by Lucifer, and she was the one, even though it said that it's Lucifer. Yeah, you try to explain that to women. Good luck with that. Hope you're not married. Besides, I didn't know women had serpents. I thought only men had one-eyed snakes. Was it Runaway Bride? But and so yeah, the woman who cut my hair betrayed me. And again, if you don't know, I'm not gonna tell you. And so another marriage failed. And so now I've studied church history. I've made the connections. I've done enough researching on the heavens now to have a good grasp of what's coming. And so I did the little video for you on the 21st with Jupiter and Saturn. And it's interesting because the news won't give you that video. They're waiting for it to happen before they give you the video. You can do the video now. I did it. You can see into the future. It's awesome. It's so cute, the little tiny planets. So cute. But I've had to sue the church because of all the people that have been attacking me. That coordinated effort with the second divorce was all tied together. The property manager who raised my rent, and she said, I'm sorry, I'm being forced to raise your rent. And then the attacks to have me evicted. That's why I knew I needed to be married. It's because everybody would attack me. And sure enough, they divorced us, got us divorced, so that they can then attack me directly. And here we are, experiencing exactly what I knew was coming. The collapse of America, the coronavirus, the signs in the heavens, the coming Exodus, the Civil War. And I still can't get Mormons to change their hearts, to tear down that blindness wall of hatred, who denounced Joseph Smith, who denounced the Book of Mormon, who denounced Jesus, because they will not go against Nelson, who has taken away the high priesthood, only for leaders now. Everybody remains an elder. They have taken away home teaching so that we don't have the communication tool during this coronavirus. You know, they're working with Russia. This is why they're helping to spread the virus and escalate it. Because this is what Russia wants. They want to destroy us. That's why the church is doing it. That's why Trump is doing it. They're both subjected to Putin. And how do you get people to say, to realize this? You know, Christians are denouncing their God for Trump. People are embracing the ones who are trying to have them murdered. Nelson raises up an idol god in April conference this year. And then in the Christmas devotional, he came right out and said, "Our God is Lucifer." And no, he didn't say it that way, did he? He just said the bright and morning star, which is a misinterpretation. It refers to the sun, but everybody thinks it's Venus. And so they try to say, well, it's different from Isaiah 14:12 because that's referring to Lucifer, who tries to imitate Jesus. No. Know your astronomy. Venus never rises to the noonday sun point. Why? Because the sunrise drowns out its light. And that's what John is talking about in Revelation. That's the morning star, the sun. But if people are trying to deceive, they consider it Venus. And that's what Nelson believed. And so, yes, that's his way of coming out and saying, the sign on the Salt Lake Temple door that you got your wedding picture taken on, and the Eagle Gate at Temple Square, right next to the Beehive House and the Lion House, where you have your wedding feasts, where honey is inside the Lion House. Cutting of hair, betrayal. And so I'm forced to sue to save my life. And the lawsuit requires that I tear down the pillars of the church, because otherwise they'll still come after me. They own everything throughout the world. They control the internet. They control YouTube. That's why you don't see my videos. Of course you're seeing it, but I'm not getting the 35,000 that I should be. So I just, time's up. I mean, this is deathbed repentance period time. And Mormons just will not listen. They denounce Joseph Smith. They denounce the Book of Mormon. They denounce Jesus Christ. And they go down denying. No, we don't. No, we don't. Okay, then denounce Nelson. No, he's the true prophet of God. I'm not leaving the church. You're an antichrist. You're the devil. You're trying to contend against the church. But he's murdering you. No, he's not. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. So, another Sabbath day. of Babylonian Constantine merging infamy. The original Sabbath was not in existence. Every day was a religious feast at the temple for the Egyptians. And yet Mormons are paranoid that if they work on the Sabbath, that they'll be struck by lightning, when it's referring to the president of the church.